Hello and welcome back to Fair City Gaming. I'm your host Kev, and today we start a new playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. So this game was the second major title to be released in the Fallout series after Bethesda bought the rights. But it's not actually developed by Bethesda, which is probably why it's the best of the three. It's definitely my favourite. I would absolutely love to see this one get remade. Current graphics, current engine. It'll never happen though. See, this one was developed by Obsidian Games, which is largely made up of people from the original Fallout team. It's much more RPG heavy than just action shooter.
War never changes. When atomic fire consumed the Earth, those who survived did so in great underground vaults. When they opened, their inhabitants set out across the ruins of the old world to build new societies, establishing villages, forming tribes. As decades passed, what had been the American Southwest united beneath the flag of the new California Republic, dedicated to old world values of democracy and the rule of law. As the Republic grew, so did its needs. Scouts spread east, seeking territory and wealth in the dry and merciless expanse of the Mojave Desert. They returned with tales of a city untouched by the warheads that had scorched the rest of the world, and a great wall spanning the Colorado River. The NCR mobilized its army and sent it east to occupy Hoover Dam and restore it to working condition. But across the Colorado, another society had arisen under a different flag. A vast army of slaves forged from the conquest of 86 tribes, Caesar's Legion. 4 years have passed since the Republic held the dam, just barely, against the Legion's onslaught. The Legion did not retreat. Across the river, it gathers strength. Campfires burn, training drums beat. Through it all, the New Vegas Strip has stayed open for business, under the control of its mysterious overseer, Mr. House, and his army of rehabilitated tribals and police robots. You are a courier, hired by the Mojave Express to deliver a package to the New Vegas Strip. What seemed like a simple delivery job has taken a turn for the worse.
You got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
Always good when a game starts off by shooting the main character in the head. 5 minutes in, still no gameplay, just talk and a loading screen. Who doesn't love that? I think sometimes we forget how lucky we've got it with modern games. Much less loading screens. So all these notifications are because of the DLC packs.
You're awake. How about that? Whoa, easy there, easy. You've been out cold a couple of days now. Why don't you just relax a second? Get your bearings. Let's see what the damage is. How about your name? Can you tell me your name?
For one major reason.
I can't say it's what I'd
We-
pick for you.
I always
That's your
tend to
name,
play
that's your name. I'm
the
Doc
Fallout
Nixon.
titles as a female
Welcome to Good Springs.
because of the Black Widow
Now,
perk.
I hope you don't mind,
Black Widow
but I had to go rooting around there in your
allows you to do
noggin
extra
pull all the
damage
bits
to
of lead out.
members of the
I
opposite
take
sex,
pride in my
and
needlework.
pretty much all the
You
enemies you'll
better
face
tell
will be
me if I
male.
left anything out of place.
Somewhat important.
How'd I do?
You also get some extra dialogue choices as well. And we're just gonna leave everything as it is. Except funky cardboard board. That'll do.
Well,
Sorry.
I got most of it right anyway. Stuff that mattered. Okay.
We're not
No
really
sense
going to
keeping
see the
you in bed
character much
anymore.
anyway, so it doesn't
Let's
really
see if
matter.
we can get you on your feet.
It's easy to spend 30 minutes building a character just to spend the next 30 hours never seeing
Why
it
don't you
again.
walk down to the end of the room, over by that vigor tester machine there. Take it slow now. It ain't a race.
Yeah.
Looking good so far. Go ahead and give the vigor tester a try. You'll learn right quick if you get back all your faculties.
Oh, hang on. Leave that. Absolutely bother. There we go. So to start off with, this doesn't really matter because once you leave the tutorial area, you actually get to re-roll your character. So we're doing this to give ourselves a bit of a head start with some of the checks that you get early on. Do nicely.
Look at that. Maybe them bullets done your brain some good. Well, we know your vitals are good, but that don't mean them bullets didn't leave you nuttered in a big one to drop it. What do you say you take a seat in my couch?
Free health.
See if your dogs are still barking.
Hey kid.
All right. I'm gonna say a word. I want you to say the first.
Now again,
thing
these
that
are
comes to
kind of
mind.
irrelevant because at the end of the
Dog.
choices, you get to pick.
Help. Enemy. Light. Mother. I ain't given to relying on. I'm slow to embrace. I char. Okay. How about this one? Well, that... Before I turn you loose, I need one more thing from you. I got a form for you to fill out so I can get a sense of your medical history. Just a formality. Ain't like I expect to find you got a family history of getting shot in the head.
Right. A lot of these usually have a couple of advantages and disadvantages. For example, extra agility, but you're more susceptible to crippled limbs. I think it is skilled will be taken. Yeah. Again, probably will get changed when we leave.
That does it. Come with me, I'll see you out.
I don't know if the mic picked that up there, but my cat was just going absolutely nuts. Evil, evil creatures. Come on.
Here, these are yours. Was all you had on you when you was brought in. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the note a look. I thought it might help me find a next of kin. But it was just something about a platinum chip. Well, if you're heading back out there, you ought to have this. They call it a Pip-Boy. I grew up in one of them vaults they made before the war. We all got one. Ain't much use to be now, but you might want such a thing after what you've been through. I know what it's like having something taken from you.
So up until this point, it was kinda established that the Pip-Boys couldn't be removed without killing.
I think
Right,
she
here
was
we
about
are.
your size, and she hardly wore it after we left the vault. Felt it was too brazen.
Thanks for patching me up, dog.
It's what I'm here for. You should talk to Sunny Smiles before you leave town. She can help you learn to fend for yourself in the desert. I reckon some of the other folks at the saloon might be able to help you out too. And the metal fella, Victor, who pulled you out of your grave. Anyway, you ever get hurt out there, you come right back. I'll fix you up. But try not to get killed anymore.
Yeah, so we're not going to be playing hardcore mode because it has been so long since I've played this game, I'm not even sure I could complete it on hardcore mode at the moment. Hardcore mode is kind of what it says in the tin, like it makes the game much, much more difficult. Set these here. Yeah, so you have to sleep regularly, you have to eat and drink. The stim packs, which are your health packs, they heal gradually. It just does everything it can to make it more difficult. A DLC. Howdy, partner.
Howdy, partner. Might I say you're looking fit as a fiddle? Don't mention it. I'm always ready to lend a helping hand to a stranger in need. I was out for a stroll that night when I heard the commotion up the old bone orchard. Saw what looked like a bunch of bad eggs, so I laid low. Once they'd run off, I dug you up to see if you were still kicking. Turns out you were, so I hauled you off to the dock right quick. Happy
Oh,
trails.
we'll be speaking to him again soon enough. So it's worth checking all the mailboxes in Good Springs because they have a chance to randomly spawn some skill magazines, which work a little differently to the skill magazines in Fallout 3. Oh, more DLC. One of the changes that they made in the newer games that make everything infinitely better is that you can run. You can't run in this game. It's heartbreaking.
Cheyenne, stay. Don't worry, she won't bite unless I tell her to.
I've just spent the last 5 minutes talking without realising I had this on mute. Goodness sake.
Sure can. NCR patrols do a good job of keeping the highway clear, but I'd keep your gun where you can reach it easily. You never know who you'll run into. Off the road, you'll probably start running into hostile wildlife. My advice would be to stick to the highway when you can.
There has never been any better advice in any Fallout tutorial section. And I will be showing that maybe at the end of this video.
Not in Good Springs, no. But if you're up for a little scavenging, there's always the schoolhouse. Most of what's in there is junk, but there's this old safe that even Easy Pete wasn't able to crack with dynamite. If you want to take a shot at it, take these. If the lock's too much for you to handle, reading through the magazine might give you the edge you need. Oh. Yeah, I guess there's a thing or two I could show you. Sounds like you need all the help you can get after what they done to you. Meet me outside, behind the saloon.
Well, okay then. So they placed all those skill magazines around the tutorial area because there's a bunch of skill checks you can pass that help with the quest that they'll give you. I mean, if you spec up your character properly, you can usually pass it anyway.
Sarsaparilla bottles on the fence there? Take this and try to hit a couple of them.
So there's a cool wee Easter egg type trick here you can do. If you use up all the ammo, she gives you a bit of a sarky comment and gives you some more. Or you can just drop it. Make sure to watch where it drops so you don't lose it. Speak to her again.
Yep, I'd say you're getting a little trigger happy there. Try to slow down a bit. Concentrate on hitting your target. Here, go easy on it now. Ammo can be hard to come by out here.
Thanks.
That's the right idea. Look down there. Try crouching down and staying. Nice shot. Well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles. Tell you what, I gotta go chase geckos away from our water supply anyway. Darn critters are attracted to it. Why don't you come along?
Okay. Just for the easy XP. If I remember correctly, it's just down here. Oh, they're going that way. Ah, that's it.
Everything all right? And hear that up on the ridge behind me there? Bunch of little monsters is what they are. Seems like Doc Mitchell treats more gecko bites than anything else. Let's see if we can get a little closer. If we move quietly, we can get the jump on them. More likely to hit something vital that way. Okay, you're on. Go give him hell.
Damn it. I love how these things look when they run. Pick up everything. Early game I like to try and save as much ammo as possible. Not that it's scarce, just why expend it if you don't have to? God damn it. Forgot you have to speak to her again.
See? You're getting the hang of it. There's 2 more wells that still need clearing. You want, you can come along. It'd be worth a few caps to me. Shouldn't
Okay
take-
then.
Come with me.
So like any RPG action adventure, you do bonus damage if you're hiding and the enemy doesn't see you when you attack them. Oh, for goodness sake. Dog does more damage than I do. Now you can actually fail to save this townsperson here. Did I just miss both those shots? Jeez. Which I just did, of course. That's really annoying, but I mean, it doesn't really net you anything other than some karma, which, as I said earlier, is kind of irrelevant.
Ah, hell's bells. There's not a day passes by I don't tell people not to come here by themselves. Some people, your word just isn't good enough for them. Then this happens. Well, it's a part of life out here. Best to accept it. But you did what you promised, staying out here with me. Here's my end of the deal. One more thing I wanted to show you. Thought I might teach you about living off the land and making useful things for yourself. Interested? All right then. We'll need a couple ingredients to get started. Let me think now.
Right, so this introduces the crafting feature that was absent from the previous title and vastly expanded on in Fallout 4. We won't be using it as much, but it is an absolute lifesaver on hardcore mode. Especially in the higher levels of the survival skill, because you can use similar items to craft what you normally couldn't. It's really, really amazing. And some of the items you can pick up in the DLCs as well. Now, I did a brief startup on this game not too long ago just to try and refamiliarize myself with this. And as I was walking up to do this mission here, I was attacked by an enemy that doesn't normally spawn this close, so I'm trying to stay a bit closer to the path on this side, because there's no way we can defeat a giant rad scorpion with the items that we've got. The classic backpedal and swing. So this is actually where we were at the opening cutscene. Just pick that up. Right. Around here on the floor somewhere you can usually find incriminating evidence. There it is. We'll take 2, just for good measure. Ugh. The people that bother themselves to do like no fast travel playthroughs of these games, they're the real heroes. As much as I love this game, one of my least favourite things about it is just the slow pace that you have to meander through the game. The reason it's one of my favourites is just because it takes everything that was good about Fallout 3 and just expands on it so much more, and then adds some new things. I love the increased RPG elements, much more in depth. I mean, it's nothing earth-shattering, groundbreaking, or whatever you want to say. If you have a high enough strength, you can actually just stand on these guys. But we've actually started off with like nearly the lowest strength. Unfortunately, the combat's never going to win any awards. It doesn't stop it being fun. Oh dear. Right. Doesn't appear to be much of any use. Sometimes some better stuff spawn. So I always start with a word that ends in ing, because there's usually a good indication that on the right there it tells us that only 1 out of 7 of those was correct, which means it can't be a word ending in ing. Oh, goodness. So there it is. So that would then allow you to unlock the safe. We don't need that just now. Oh, 3 points. Such a waste. Stealth boy will help us out in a bit. Level up. So we have speech and sneak, science repair. Now I can get my 3 points. Ah, oh, dear. That's going to be important further down the line, but I won't be increasing my explosive skill any higher than that. Again, it's actually kind of irrelevant what I put them at just now anyway. Yeah, Black Widow. So we're taking that because that negates the minus 10% that we took when we took our trait at the start of the game. The trait is permanent. I mean, once we do our reroll at the end of the tutorial, it's no longer like we can change it then. But that's the end of it. I don't think you get another chance to change it after that. That was so annoying. Unfortunately, there would have been no other way for me to level up without doing that quest, so I would have had to go back. It doesn't really matter, there's no harm done.
Let me see what you got. Yeah, these'll do just... Alright now. We're gonna be making something folks on the trail call healing powder. Go on over to that campfire.
Oh
That's
yeah.
not bad, see? All it takes to make a recipe is the right ingredients and the right know-how. Sometimes it won't be a campfire you need. Important thing to get is it's all the same idea. Well, I hope... I'm heading back now. Hey, do me a favor. Trudy, she's the bartender up at the Prospector. Kind of the town mom. She likes to meet newcomers. She'd be cross with me if I didn't ask you to poke your head in and say hi.
Well, okay. The classic traversal of any Bethesda game, you jump up rock faces. The difficulty with New Vegas in doing that, however, is it's still notoriously buggy. So if you are going to be climbing up rock faces, I would encourage regular saving. But if you play any Bethesda games, you'll know that that should be lesson number 1 anyway. This is coming from the guy who has only been relying on autosaves. Don't do that. It's fine at this stage, because you know you've only lost 20 minutes. If you've sank 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, and then lose it because you haven't been saving, well, that's just gonna suck. So we're gonna go get this first stage of this quest, and then we're gonna pass all the speech checks, but then we're gonna leave without actually continuing the quest.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground.
We'll keep that in mind.
Oops.
Now, if you're not gonna buy something, get out.
What do you want? He's some trader who decided he'd rather shoot than pay the toll for being in our territory. He's hiding somewhere in town. Would serve these idiots right if me and my guys shot the place up after we got payback on Ringo. Let me get out of town. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes his pathing prevents him from leaving, so you have to speak to him.
Well, you've been causing quite a stir. Glad I finally got to meet you. Welcome to the Prospector Saloon. Looks like our little town got itself dragged into the middle of something we don't want anything to do with.
This is a continuation of the tutorial and introducing the idea of reputation with the different factions.
We figured he was just in shock, so we gave him a place to lie low. We didn't actually expect anyone to come after him.
Reputation with Goodsprings is kind of irrelevant.
Cobb hasn't exactly been looking for Ringo.
Powder gangers,
I think he's afraid that Ringo
neither
will
here
ambush
nor
him.
there
It's
really.
probably true.
There's a couple of cool quests you can do with them later, so you want to try and maintain neutral standing with them.
He's holed up at the abandoned gas station up the hill. You mean murder him? That's not our way. Even if Cobb is scum, he can bluster and threaten all he wants. He's holed up at the abandoned gas station. Some of the others, like Sonny, will probably stand up for Ringo if he asks for help, which he hasn't. Personally, I hope he sneaks out of town one night and takes the powder gangers with him. Chain gangs, really. The NCR brought them in from California to work on the rail lines. Problem is, it turns out that giving convicts a bunch of dynamite and blasting powder isn't the best idea.
Well, who'd have thought?
There was a big escape not too long ago. Some of them stuck together so they could make trouble. That's what we're dealing with now. All right. Not much, other than they're a bunch of freeloaders who expected a few rounds on the house. I was able to get them to pay up, though. Of course, one of the great cons did knock my radio to the floor by accident, and it hasn't been working since. They were having some kind of argument about it, but the guy in the checkered coat kept shushing them. Sounded like they came in from the north through Quarry Junction. If that's the case, I can't say I blame them for not wanting to go back. That whole area is overrun with the kind of critters that just get mad if you shoot them. Merchants avoid that whole stretch of I-15 like it's radioactive, which it could be for all I know. I didn't hear exactly, but the leader was talking about the strip. Fellow wants to get there and avoid the 15, he'd have to go east. Take Highway 93 up. If you were able to get Ringo out of this mess, you'd have a decent reputation around Goodsprings. I'd even set you up with a discount. Of course, helping Ringo would also make the powder gangers mad, and they've got a lot of friends out there. Don't know why you'd want to do a thing like that. Yep, you'd get on their good side, but people around here wouldn't appreciate it one bit. Sure, there'd be caps in it for you.
There. Oh. Repair the radio.
Feeling thirsty? Yeah, I heard it turn. Not at all.
Give me more money.
Now, how about...
Absolutely not. This tutorial has taken me a lot longer than I would have liked. So yeah, the breakdown of the reputation system is basically you help one, you anger the other. It's not rocket science. There are ways around it. You can sneak in, as long as no one sees you do something, you can usually avoid negative
That's close
reputation.
enough. Who are you, and what do you want with me? Sorry about the gun. You just caught me off guard, that's all. We got off to a bad start. It's a... So...
Yeah, we're not going to play that because it's long drawn out and it's really quite annoying actually.
He doesn't look very tough though. I hear he's afraid I'll shoot him down from one of the windows when I see him. And I'll have a much bigger problem once his friends show up. My caravan was on the return trip from California and heading back to the company branch in New Vegas when we got jumped. Not even a drop your weapons and hands up before the bullets started flying.
One of them is lying.
We put up a good fight. I took a few of the bandits down before I ran, so I figure their friends are out for revenge. I'm gonna lay low for as long as I can, assuming the town doesn't throw me to the wolves. I've got no chance against the gang on my own. All I've got left on me are a handful of caps, but you get me out of this and I'll make sure the Crimson Caravan... We just end up sharing the same grave. Start with Sonny Smith.
Okay. So... So as long as you're in crouch mode and hidden at the top there, you'll still incur negative karma, but it shouldn't have any negative effects. As I said, karma's kind of irrelevant. Reputation's something else entirely. I think that's kind of the problem. If they'd had them either be one and the same stat or actually have karma mean something. As it turns out, you can steal everything as long as you don't get caught and still maintain good reputation with everyone. Oh.
Hi there. Sticking around Good Springs for a while longer? Say no more. I'm in.
Woo!
Joe Cobb talks about leaving us alone if we hand over Ringo, but I know his type. He and his friends will come after the town eventually. However, between you, me, and Ringo, we aren't exactly a force to be reckoned with. If you could convince Trudy to join us, I know Easy Pete. Finally, there's a good chance we'll all end up with extra hold.
Speech checks. It's easy to miss.
Hey.
Easy Pete here.
Howdy. What can Easy Pete do for you? Too dangerous. Uh-huh. Keep your...
That'll do.
You must be the one Doc Mitchell was patching up. The way I heard it, I've got... If you're hurt... Now just hold on. I never voted to take on the Powder Gangers. You made your point. I can provide people with some leather armor and I'll be guarding the store while all this is going on. I have to put my...
Nah. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to need scrap metal and scrap electronics in a little bit. So anytime I'm going to see that, I'm going to be picking it up. Oh, Trudy must still be in the saloon then. Oh.
So you're planning on taking on Joe Cobb's gang. It's a big risk, but I suppose you have to do what you... I was planning on sitting this one out, but for some reason, I can't help but like you. Let me have a word with a few other folks. While everyone does own a gun...
Sorry. That just leaves Doc. But then, rather than actually start the fight, we're going to leave because there is a piece of equipment that I would like before we actually take on this fight. Where is he? There he is.
Welcome back.
Sword. Okay, so we're going to create a hard save here because though I'm going to wrap it up, I'm also going to show everyone why we don't go north. So make sure not to overwrite my other save. So from the various different people we've spoken to, we've been told that going north is suicide. And if we want to go to Vegas, we either need to go north or circle around. It's actually really quite clever level design. I mean, it's not genius, you know, it's pretty basic, but there is actually some exploits you can use to get past some of the enemies. But it's not easy. So just for a bit of scope, way off in the distance there, that's where we need to go. Almost seems like you could make it. Just walk. So we're going to finish and travel onward, because we're going to be re-rolling our character when we go the other way. So that's the tutorial officially over. I'll be crouching every now and again just to make sure that I've not attracted the attention of our foes. And here we go. So these Cazadors are horrible. And they're poisonous. And we'll be dead now. Yeah. So we can't go that way. Probably should have created a safe further away, but really just a harmless bit of fun anyway. So rather than go up that way, why not go around? Why not indeed? Couple of coyotes, I can take care of them. Forget which buttons which. Hurrah! Finish travel onward. So, as I mentioned earlier, this area is actually home to some giant rad scorpions, which are a different kind of hell. Standard rad scorpions. There we go. That little red shield that shows up there, that's the game's way of telling you you can't hurt this enemy with your weapon. So don't try. So we're just going to keep going. That would have been too easy if I could actually have gotten up there. No, it's not having it. Never mind. We are in danger. Anyone who's played this game before knows why we're in danger. Warning, death claws ahead. What's a death claw? If you have to ask. Well, peace be with you. We'll be coming back to this town later. This is literally just to show you why we can't go this way. I can just... there's no point in hiding from him, right? So we're just going to brace our fate. And that is that. So yeah, that seems like a pretty perfect place to wrap up this video. We'll pick up here for the next one. Thanks very much for joining me in this new adventure, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.